Welcome back, and I hope you guys are ready for another exciting episode of Pathfinders Wrath of the Righteous. Of course, we're going to be screaming, yelling at the dice roller, and just generally being like, "Ah!" But, you know, it's all in good fun. So let's enjoy the story. Let's kill some monsters, do some dungeons, and see what comes next. So let's go and hop into it.
Praise Iomade, you woke up. Healing your wounds was easy, but you were unconscious for so long I was starting to worry we'd lost you.
What happened?
We couldn't stand up to the demoness. Her spells were too strong. It's all right. We'll handle it somehow. You blacked out, but Staunton and I managed to get you here to the Defender's Heart. It used to be a tavern, but now it's our headquarters. We're gathering our forces here, and we're preparing to strike back.
I found a cultist dispatch in the dungeons. It seems they're holed up in the Tower of Estrode.
Demons have been filling Canabras with their spies and infiltrators for a long time. Unfortunately, I don't have enough people to attack the place right now, at least not blindly. I'd be grateful if you snuck in there and scouted out the situation. But just scouting. Don't be a hero.
What do you plan to do
You
next?
heard what the demon said. They're going to desecrate the Ward Stone and blow up the whole barrier around the World Wound. That would be an even worse disaster than the World Wound's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Canabras, but every city with a Ward Stone will be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that no matter what. We will retake it, even destroy it if we must. Iomade's gift must not become a weapon of the Abyss.
Can I help you in any way?
First of all, we need to decide what to do with the stone once we get it. What I'm about to say is classified. A traveler came to the city recently. A blind elf calling himself the Storyteller. He insisted he be allowed to examine the Ward Stone, and he raised the alarm when his study was finished. Even before the demon attack, he had found some damage or flaw in the stone. Prelate Hulrune dismissed his words as nonsense, borderline blasphemy. But between you and me, the prelate's opinion isn't worth much. I think the Storyteller knew what he was talking about. We could use his advice right now, if only we knew where he was. I remember the Storyteller spent a lot of time talking to Staunton, a dwarf from my unit. You saw him during the demon attack. The elf asked him about the history of the Crusades. Maybe the Storyteller told Staunton something about where we could find him if anything happened. There's another problem. After the attack, the demons began to gather their forces at the Grey Garrison. It'll be even harder to take them with a head-on assault. But I once heard soldiers talking about a secret entrance to the garrison. Trouble is, I have no idea where to look for it. While you explore the city, please keep your eyes open, in case you find something we can use.
Sounds good.
And one last thing. The Eagle Watch has lost a lot of soldiers recently. Some were killed, but others simply haven't been seen since the attack. In the chaos that is now Canabras, it's next to impossible to confirm anything for sure. One of the missing fighters is Janna Aldori, a new recruit in the Watch. She got along well with Sela, and she often went drinking with her. I honestly thought Sela and Janna had died together. But now Sela's returned with you and there's no sign of Janna. If you learn anything of her whereabouts when you're out in the city, please report back.
You got it.
May the goddess help you. We're still fighting, which means that Canabras still hasn't fallen. If you come across any groups in the city that can fight, send them here to the Defender's Heart. We'll need every fighter we can muster for the final assault. Yes,
Can also
one
do
more
that.
thing. If you're in the area, check out this address. It's our house. Mine and Anevia's. Well, it was our house. If the building is still standing, open the hidden compartment in the kitchen. It's filled with supplies for a rainy day. You can take whatever you find. You have more need of it.
All right. Thank you for your help. Ooh, so close to leveling. I had a couple mercenaries. We have a cleric of Aristil called Holy Melee. And then we have a raging singer who is our Skulled using our Marching Terror glaive that we found. So yeah, I'm gonna have a little polearm master here. Our Cleric of Aristil right now is sword and board. They're actually a level of Cavalier as well. On a dog, so they're a Beast Rider. So we're going to. We did talk to Horga Squirm. Got our 2,000 gold pieces. We talked to Gremel Hawks here. He is a follower of Caden Kalian. You know, he's a bar owner. So yeah, let's check out the tavern here. As you can see, it's called the Defender's Heart. We need to talk to Staunton Vane. Plus, there's some other people and loot to talk to here. So let's go ahead and start with Staunton Vane, work our way around, talk with some of our companions, and then set out into Canabris and see what we need to do. The dwarf resembles an abandoned citadel, one whose high crumbling walls are still holding fast, but whose empty, lightless windows make it clear that all inside is dead. Oh, it's you. Good work back there in the Grey Garrison. Name's Staunton Vane. If you've heard rumors about me, his face, which looked like it has never known anything as carefree as a smile, grimaces. Just so you know, everything the people say about me, it's true. I need to talk to an elf that calls him the Storyteller. Do you know where I can find him? The Storyteller. Staunton strokes his beard in thought. Strange old fellow. That one. He used to sit with me for hours, asking about all sorts of things. He never offered judgment or comfort. He just listened. At first, I wanted him and his questions as far away from me as possible. But later I realized that talking to him did ease my burden a little. I hope that he is alive and well. He's completely blind and feeble too, so if he's alone in the city, well, you probably know what that means. I do know one place he might be. Look for him in the Black Wing. It's a library, here. I'll show it you where it is on the map. I don't know what use a library is to a blind elf, but he loved the place. He would sit there all day and night. What do people say about you? They say that I'm a traitor. As bad as a Rilu Vorlesh, that I'm a disgrace even among the ranks of the condemned, that Queen Gallifrey should have never spared me, that I belong on the gallows. Why do they hate you so much? You really don't know. Staunton gives you a long, morose look, then sighs. I'm the reason why the Crusade forces are holed up in fortresses on the edge of the Whirlwind. Instead of bringing the fight to the demons, we used to have a foothold in the wound, the mighty, unassailable city of Dresden. We used to have it, until it fell, and all because of my stupidity. I gave the enemy our main citadel. I was tried. They wanted to execute me, and rightly so. But the queen intervened. She said that I should live and fight in order to undo what I had done. So that's how I live, decades after decade, fighting in the condemned. The dwarf shrugs. As you can see, I have fixed nothing, and I have earned no one's forgiveness. Are you going to spit in my face too? It wouldn't surprise me. Good. I hope you earn forgiveness. Thank you. From the depths of my soul, I thank you. But I haven't had hope for a long, long time. A whole city fell because of you. How is that possible? What do you mean, how? The knight glares at you from beneath his furrowed brows. If you don't trust the word of a condemned, go ask somebody else, like my little brother, Joran. And if you still don't believe it, what's it to me? But if you're going to ask about me to recount the story of my disgrace for the 1000th time, don't. You really don't have any friends? I couldn't have survived this long if I were completely alone. Joran, my little brother, he keeps me going. He never's abandoned me. Everyone else shies away from me like they might catch what I've got. Even fighters in the condemned console themselves by thinking, I got stripped of my rank, but at least I'm not Staunton. Commander Terabade seems to be the only person in the whole army who remembers that I'm a soldier and not a drudge. She has no qualms about taking me into battle. She's had some mud flung at her in the past, or so I hear, but that's why she tries to keep an open mind about people. It's no surprise that she's the only one to hold on to her sense of reason in this farce. So many years in the condemned, surely you've paid your penance by now. That's not up to me to decide. My life is in the Queen's hands. He falls silent for a moment, and then, in a trembling voice, he adds, the condemned isn't the worst part. All these years I have prayed to Torag for forgiveness. Countless times I've gone to his priests. Countless times I've kneeled before the altar. If only the Father of Dwarven kind would answer my prayers just once. Not to restore what I've lost, just to tell me that I am still one of his children. But it seems he doesn't give a damn about me. What can I expect from mere mortals when my own God doesn't think I deserve redemption? I have to go. Go on then. Maybe we'll see each other again. Let's see. There's Camellia. Camellia looks you over pensively, toying with the snake-shaped bone amulet that dangles from her pale neck. Noticing your glance, she flashes you a cold, barely there smile. Greetings! It seems for a moment that she wants to say something else, but the pause grows too long, and she slips back into cautious silence. Your amulet is quite unusual. Where did you get it? Ah, my little trinket. It's so nice of you to notice, but I assure you, this amulet is nothing but a bauble. Can a lady not be drawn to beautiful, useless things? You're much more relaxed during combat. Your battle cries are uninhibited. She blushes slightly and lowers her eyes. So you've noticed. To be honest, I find it embarrassing. You see, being a shaman means having spirits of battle as my ever-present companions. In the heat of combat, they become rather vocal. Your speech tells me you're of noble birth. Camellia laughs, her practiced musical laugh, and she watches you from under lowered lashes. You're most insightful, a fine quality to have. Camellia's laughter ends, and unspoken words hang in the silence. Still, I believe that being of noble birth does not give anyone the right to look down on others. Is that so? Well, thank you for sharing your opinion with me. Where did you learn to wield a rapier so well? I had good teachers, although they don't get all the credit. I am a most diligent student. Camellia licks her parched lips. Tell me about yourself. You want to know more about me than you already do? Why? Camellia arches a dainty brow. I talk to the spirits of this tormented land, and they guide me in battle. I'll help you fight the demons, and I swear that you can rely on me in this matter. Isn't that sufficient? Anyway, as much as I enjoy our delightful conversations, the spirits are calling me, and I must respond. Please excuse me. Camellia turns away, watching you out of the corner of her eye. Oh, I need to adjust spells, or memorize spells, because Cleric has spells. I'm going to do magic thing for the doggo. Do bless, and I guess bless, because really the group stuff is the biggest thing to help out right now. And we're going to do some summon monsters, so we have what I call speed bumps. And she has second level spells. Bull Strength and Bark Skins. That way she can buff the melee, and Bark Skin lasts 10 minutes, so we get 40 minutes worth of actual playtime with our buffs. Alright, into the kitchen. Jurnog. A young man in a well-worn travel clothes and simple wooden symbol of Aristil on his chest is efficiently cutting a linen robe into strips to use as bandages. Despite his visible exhaustion, he works with zeal, singing some tune about red braids and ripe sheaves of wheat under his breath. He raises his warm chestnut-colored eyes to you. Are you one of the Crusaders? Thank you for defending those of us whose talents lie off the battlefield. I am Jurnog, servant of Aristil. Pleased to meet you. What are you doing? I only took my holy orders recently, so my god has only bestowed a little of his power upon me as of yet. I'm sorry to say that the number of wounded fighters in this tavern is far beyond my power to heal. But there's a reason people say, have faith in the gods, but look to yourself first. I may not be able to help wounded with magic, but I can at least cut up bandages. Are you from around here? No, I was just passing through Canabras. I was sailing down that old man of ours, the Great Selin River, to a village by the name of Chili Creek. I happened to land in the city on the eve of the festival, and I'm ashamed to say I decided to stay for a day to enjoy myself. But I ended up staying in the city longer than I had bargained for. Oh, that's true. Chili Creek, where's that? It's a small fishing village. It's not even marked on some maps. But people do live there. What they don't have is a priest. They have no one to heal their wounds, nor offer prayers for a good catch. No one to give their dead a dignified burial. And the world wound is a stone's throw away. So, I'll be setting sail for Chili Creek to serve my god and my people. Once we've held Canabras, I'll be going there. If by the grace of the good gods we all survive this, you should come and visit me sometime. You'll find the village here, on the bank of the river. The priest marks Chili Creek on your map. I can use the help of a cleric. Jurnon makes a helpless gesture. Aristil knows I'd be glad to help you, but it's no use. My spells are depleted, and I have no training in potions or scrolls. See this robe? I'm cutting up for bandages. It's the second to last one. I have to go. May Aristil watch over you.
How cute!
It is cute. Foreign autumn haze. A tall, fragile-looking elf sits in front of you, eyes closed. He is pale as a ghost, his arm wrapped in blood-stained bandage. You spot other bandages on his body under his clothes, but even in such miserable state, he manages to keep calm. Raising his eyes to meet yours, he says faintly, I am Foreign Autumn Haze, at your service. His pale lips are reddened by blood, but you see no signs of pain or fear in his gray eyes. Do you need help? After giving you a cold, intense look, he shakes his head. Do not trouble yourself on my behalf. A local healer has tended to me. Besides, I come from a resilient, hardy people. My body will endure both the wounds and the poison delivered through them. Who wounded you? A sinner, an accomplice to demons. The quarry I am hunting in this inhospitable place. I am Garou. You can trust me. I might be able to help you. After a brief pause, Forn says, it would be impolite to refuse such a direct and friendly offer. Who is your quarry here in Mendev? I was hunting a fugitive, a Descarite by the name of Kalisa. It pains me to admit that there are heinous malefactors such as her among my noble kind. I managed to catch up to her in Canabras, and I wounded her. Then demons appeared and the city was engulfed in flames. I was injured in the battle that ensued and couldn't free her soul from its service to her dark masters. He expresses no anger or hatred as he speaks, only compassionate sorrow. I'm sorry for your misfortune. I hope things will turn out differently next time. He purses his lips. There's no need for pity. Our ancient kind is blessed with great longevity. We gain a deeper understanding of the world than other races, and we learn our lessons better than anyone. That goes for learning from our mistakes as well. I survived, which means I'll be more prepared when we next meet. I wish to aid in your hunt. Foreign covers his eyes warily. I thank you, but this is my mission, and I'm used to facing all manners of terrors on my own. I do appreciate your willingness to help. If you happen to meet Kalisa, take caution. She has turned many innocent souls to the path of evil, and darkness has rewarded her in many gifts. Her appearance alone will tell you that. It is warped. The agate skin, the malicious stare of her blood-red eyes, the bestial teeth. She's more monster than elf at this point. Let's see if I can make this check. I did not. Probably rolled low. No, I rolled a 9. I needed to get a 17 by them. So, her skin is dark, her hair paternally white. Her red eyes can see perfectly in the dark, which, to my dismay, I've come to know from experience. But bright light causes her kind pain. I used an alchemical powder that explodes in a dazzling flash, and she cried out as if I had stabbed her. It's clear that this woman is a faithful servant of darkness. The marks of Kalisa's masters have left on her appearance say as much. I have to go. Good fortune to you. To the basement, since we are right here. Ooh. I'll take that. I'll take that stuff because I can go sell it. Surrender thy soul, Delvin. Iomade, protect us. Ha ha ha, got you again. How many times is that today? Take your jokes and shove them, tiefling. Whoa there, easy, chief. Don't hit me. Woljif. Think it's those two. Button won't budge. Oh, that one needs to be down. That one is down. That one's up. There we go. Headband of Alluring Charisma +2. Very nice. Do I get an extra channel or no? I'll probably do more rages or whatever the song is with can't remember now. Brain fart. Okay, let's talk to Woljif.
Hey, Chief! Ooh, hey, gorgeous. Come over here. I want to talk to you about something. Something really important.
Quit bothering the decent people in here, Woljif, or I'll knock your teeth out.
Ooh.
What's it to you, Delvin Dum-Dum? You were told to guard me, and I'm not stopping you. But no one told me I had to shut my trap.
Who are you?
Woljif Jeffdo. I deal in useful things. I can get you whatever you want. Anything. But there's just one problem.
The tiefling rattles his chains and gives you a meaningful look. What do you want from
I'll
me?
lay it out for you. Simple job, 30 minutes tops. We go someplace, talk to someone, and in return, whatever you want, I'll get it for you. Some extra rations, no problem. Armor, weapons, scrolls, you name it. It's as good as yours. If you need my help with something, whistle and I'll be there. I'm handy enough with knives too, and even my magic know-how isn't too shabby.
It's good to know.
What a load of guff. If you were good at magic, you wouldn't be stuck in here now, would you?
Ouch.
Don't you listen to him, Chief. He'd find fault with the Queen herself. I'll be useful to have in battle, and I'll sell whatever you want at a reasonable price. It's your lucky day. You won't meet another gem like me in Canabras.
Why are you in
Does it
chains?
really matter? Don't get hung up on the past, Chief. Don't look to the future. Live in the here and now.
He was caught thieving.
Okay, I can't help you while you're chained up here. How can I free
That's
you?
easy. You know Irabeth? Feisty looking gal, always wears armor. You can't miss her. She's the meanest fighter in the whole city. When you see her, put in a good word for me, will ya? Tell her there's this guy, Woljif, locked up for no good reason in the Defender's Heart. Well, for the follies of his youth. And he really wants to get out on bail so he can keep up his good behavior and make a contribution to society. You got that? Will you do it?
Alright, I'll talk to Irabeth about your situation.
I knew I could count on you. Knew it the moment I laid eyes on you.
We'll talk later. Out on parole. Up into the tavern again. Continuing our way around. The Hillers are local Pathfinder Society. Gentlemen, this is where you can get mercenaries. And if you turn the feature on, you can actually redo your character and your mercenaries and your story companions as well to a certain point. Some of them, you can redo them or respec them, respecialize them to the point when you originally got them. So that option's actually in difficulty, and enable character retrain. Turn that on. It's actually doesn't affect the overall difficulty, and it's a very valuable tool. So let's talk to Irabeth here. Irabeth rubs her red entire eyes. Any success? How is the city? There's a tiefling chained up in the Defender's Heart. What can you tell me about him? Irabeth shrugs scornfully. Woljif is a petty thief from a gang of thieflings operating in Canabras. That's what we call them in these parts. They tried to rob a vendor of magical items recently. Unfortunately, we apprehended only one of them, and the rest managed to escape. We have nowhere else to keep him apart from the Defender's Heart, but that's hardly a prison. Woljif knows it too. He's been begging us for days to let him go free or have someone vouch for him. He's already asked you to put in a good word for him, has he? Irabeth squints at you thoughtfully, then shrugs. If you want to recruit Woljif and put him to good use, go ahead and take him off our guard's hands. We can ill afford to let a soldier spend their days watching over a midland thief. I hope the tiefling proves useful, should you decide to take him along. All right. What is our main objective? You heard what that demon said. They're going to desecrate the wardstone and blow up the whole barrier around the Whirlwind. That would be an even worse disaster than the Whirlwind's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Canabris, but every city in the with the wardstone will be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that, no matter what. We will retake it, even destroy it if we must. Iomede's gift must not become a weapon for the Abyss. Alright. Tell me about the Eagle Watch. It's a small order, created to fight not only demons, but also the enemy within, to maintain purity of the paladin ranks, prevent heresy, and identify spies. And it failed miserably at that. The Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth infiltrated it and formed their nest within its ranks. So the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth, as you can see here, are Baphomet's Crusaders. So yeah, they're bad guys. After the Queen entrusted me with leading the order, Anivia and I practically built it from scratch. We got rid of dead weight, people who weren't committed. We organized ways to transmit messages and orders safely. We introduced reliable ciphers. We found tactic allies around the city, from crusader orders to street beggars. That was this was my personal crusade, to purge the city of Templars who had infested it. And I thought I was winning. I could feel it. We were so close to driving the cultists out of Canabris. But Irbeth frowns. It's hard to admit, but those successes didn't count for much once the demons entered the city. On the contrary, if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be a headquarters at Defender's Heart. The cultists would have served up the city on a platter to the demons. The lines on Irbeth's forehead softened. Yes, that's true. It's a good thing we achieved something. Thank you. I have to go. Go. May Iomede keep you safe. Sila's here. Sila smiles at you warmly. Hey there! During that march through the dungeon, we never got chances to exchange a proper greeting. It's high time I shake your hand. Irbeth said your friend Jana Aldori is missing. Do you know where we could look for her? Irbeth is worried about her fighters, responds Sila. I understand that. I wanted to look for Jana myself, so I didn't distract you. But since you're on this too, I could use some help. Jana and I met in Canabris a few days ago and just hit it off. We went drinking together, we went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in the crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. Sila frowns. Jana's a good fighter. Even if she is green, she couldn't have become an Aldori otherwise. I hope that means she's alright. What do you think of what's going on in Canabris? It's complete chaos. It's lucky we're here to handle it, right? Sila smiles brightly, then she gives you a worried look. Does the way I talk bother you? I know I can seem blasé. Many good people and our protector Trindle have died here in Canabris. A paladin of Iomede is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. But I prefer to face my troubles with a smile and a bit of common sense. Grief is a weapon. They'll use it against you. It can undermine a warrior's spirit. It's better we hold off on grief until we've driven the last demon and cultist from the city. I'm not bothered by how you talk. What matters is how you fight. Now you're talking sense. Well, you can trust in my sword. Thank you for speaking with me. Until next time. Sila smiles. See you. Pink Eye. Endara. An imposing young Oread is surrounded by a crowd of crusaders who are hanging on her every word. I hope this example clearly illustrates the difference between Jiska legionnaires from the last war and the crusaders, the perfection of form and spirit they imbued with during creation turned them into parts of well-balanced war machine, not a ragtag bunch of individuals, but a united whole. Endara, now tell me again, why am I supposed to be impressed by your reckless assaults, where everyone is fighting for their ego and for the right to beat their peers to a swift but pointless heroic sacrifice? Some of the crusaders grumble unhappily, but it is clear that they are captivated by the woman's words. The only exception is a scraggly and disheveled halfling monk whose puffy black eye gives him away as a brawler and a troublemaker. He enthusiastically pushes forward and tries to engage, but one of his friends swiftly jabs him in the back with an elbow, making the poor fellow pause to catch his breath. It looks like we got ourselves a student of warfare. The woman gives you a suspicious look and raises an eyebrow. Were your words meant to recognize my achievements, or to start a fight the way the Medivian Crusaders usually do? Canabra's Crusader chimes in. One of the Crusaders angrily curls his fist tightly and retorts with a burst of passion. If those gists of yours, or whatever, had come for us, we'd have their guts for garters. You think we've never fought a mighty adversary before? The soldier's stern facade cannot fully conceal his relish. He clearly plans to enjoy this confrontation. The Crusaders around him look upon their exotic opponent with a mixture of irritation and piqued interest. The woman chuckles before cutting off her interlocutor. I would love to see you storm a 60-foot tall walking castle shaped like a gigantic elephant that carries siege fortifications on its back. And I'll have you know, these fortifications were defended by Jiskan, priests, craftsmen, armed with demon-bound war machines. They use the enemies you cannot defeat as mindless weapons. The woman gives the people around her a triumphant look and adjusts her clothes with pointed nonchalance. Her voice takes on a lecturer's tone. You should not argue with someone who happens to be the most authoritative researcher on the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. The woman looks at you and flashes an amused smile. The lecture is over. Do my esteemed listeners have any questions? What is this last war you mentioned? The last war of Jiska. Of course, a large-scale conflict that took place 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. It was a war against the Osirian pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues. The war that ended the legendary Jitska Imperium, an epic struggle that became the most vibrant page in military history. Alas, all conflicts that followed it were but a pale shadow, including the one I'm witnessing here. Who are you? I am Indara, a warrior, magus, and scholar of classical warfare from Gorund. The woman peers at you apprehensively, then sighs. I admit, I am mildly offended by the fact that my name is entirely unfamiliar to you, but I'm willing to accept that this is due to Avastan's isolation from the sophisticated culture of the world at large. You've come a long way to be here. I like to think of myself as an inhabitant of Galarian. I can't read today. And I don't narrowly identify with any country in particular. Why did you come here? To witness a legendary war. The confrontation between the denizens of the plain, famous for its love of violence, and the crusaders from every continent, united by a common goal of defending their home. An epic struggle of colossal proportions that hasn't been particularly epic so far, truth be told. The monk with the black eye grins and mutters under his breath. Maybe she just can't see it from here. The view will get way more epic if she stops hiding among us and takes a walk outside. The woman smirks contemptuously. She does not deem the monk's words worthy of comments. Looks like you know more about warfare than any of us. Oh? Am I hearing things, or did someone finally acknowledge my competence in the art of warfare? Perhaps there is a sufficiently open-minded person among the Crusaders after all. I find myself pleasantly surprised. Why don't you join the Crusaders and show them how fighting should be done? No. I'm a historian, an analyst, and a theorist. Do you know what these three words have in common? They describe a mortal woman who does not participate in the conflict upon which her thesis will be founded. But then again, I will hardly be able to describe this mess as anything other than a feeble likeness of the last war of Jitska. The monk with the damaged eye grins slyly at comments. The more dangerous the upcoming scuffle is, the more motivated we are to find clever and pretty words to justify not actually doing the fighting. Why do you find the last war of Jitska so inspiring? Imagine legions of golems, imbued with extraplanar spirits marching into battle. Imagine flying cities that swoop out of the clouds like terrifying monstrous birds of prey to drop forces on top of enemy castles. Picture gigantic mechanisms powered by captive and very angry demons and devils. Imagine standing in the warpath of walking citadels, or having to cover your ears to block out the sound of cannons loaded with shrieking elementals. Finally, imagine the ultimate weapon that defeated Jitska, the deadly Night Plague. This affliction was the unattacked dog, a trained epidemic, a tamed pestilence, striking only those who its master wanted to kill. Imagine all these terrors and understanding that no flight of fancy can ever come close to the horror of the nightmares that they made real. How do you know so much about the Jitska Last War? I can say without false modesty that there is no more authoritative research on Golarion when it comes to the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. I've dedicated my whole life to this subject. I've personally visited old battlefields and studied the most mysterious and forbidden archives containing chronicles of ancient wars, sometimes risking my life in the process. I saw a fallen sky city in the Shori Empire with my own eyes. I ripped out the control crystal from an exterminator-class combat golem that guarded a Jitska laboratory with my own hands. These fingers held glass flasks that servants of the Pharaoh of the Forgotten Plagues used to create the first generation of the pestilence that devastated the Jitska Imperium. How do I know so much? I saw and touched everything I'm telling you about. You're wrong to treat Crusaders with such disdain. Allow me to explain. A debate? Oh, I will be happy to prove that the current conflict can't hold a candle to the last war of Jitska. Very well. The last war of Jitska was waged using a significantly greater number of troops. Both sides actively relied on reinforcements from allied planes, and their strategic planning was perfected through no fewer than 7 rounds of intensive design. None of above applies to this war of yours. Compared to Jitska, we are but a stone club-wielding kobolds. I would like to conclude my thesis with a few words of wise counsel from Dagon, an advisor to the Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues. I doubt you will comprehend the true genius of his statement, but here it is nonetheless. A gadfly sees the ox pays no heed to the gadfly, but crimson fever takes them both. Knowledge world, we're going to try that. The principles of war are always the same. Weapons, causes, and resources may change, but the foundations remain immutable. And I rolled a 2. That's why we don't study tactics by watching a couple of rock-wielding goblins fight over a dead rat. Indara sarcastically words produces a burst of laughter from the audience. The monk with the black eye stifles a giggle and looks like he wants to say something, but ultimately holds himself back. The events of the past are shrouded in legend, but the fate of the world is being decided here and now. That is what you fail to grasp. Haha, I succeeded! The earnestness on the faces of those around you has taken away Indira's panache, encouraging her to backtrack and stumble over her words. Of course, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of current events. What I'm trying to say is that from the standpoint of history, and particularly the history of warfare, she falls silently, fixed, staring at the unfriendly eyes of her audience. The true importance of these developments won't become obvious until later. Indara offers a pretentious dismissal. As a scholar, I cannot deny that there is a certain truth beneath your skeptical statements. History is a complex discipline, rooted in fact and evidentiary base that grows ever more meager the further the described period is from the present moment. Of course, if I were to argue in bad faith, the way the Crusaders embellished their tales of slaying a single brimrack by adding a dozen Baelors, for example, I could win this debate, but I am above such things, and therefore I am forced to admit that your skepticism is not entirely without merit. I'm sure you would have been able to expound on your arguments in a longer discussion. Indara nods with an obvious relief. I am glad we both understand this limitation. It is always a pleasure to face a worthy opponent, even if the debate takes a grimy tavern, perhaps especially because of that. Indara unbuckles her sword belt and hands you the weapon. This is a worthy blade. It will be of use not only for the strong, but also for the wise. And this is where I bid you farewell. Before the end of the day, I was planning to observe how winged demons use pack tactics to drive their prey like herds of livestock. It's about time I got back to my research. The hint of a smile graces Indara's lips when she sees the disappointment in the eyes of many Crusaders around her. Stay safe. And just like that, the episode for today is over. The narrator's a little tired. You gotta give him some props for, going at it. But thank you for hanging out and watching Pathfinders Wrath of the Righteous. Hopefully you guys had fun. So if you did, do the thing. You know, like, comment, subscribe, share it. The link for the previous episodes and next episodes should be in the descriptions, unless they are not out yet. If you want them early, you could always beg for them in the comments, maybe. Tell me your favorite part of each episode. Let me know you guys are enjoying it. And with that, I will let you guys get back to your day, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for hanging out.